configured, right? Okay, hello, hi, uh, good morning, good afternoon. How is everyone doing? Hi, Kevin. I'm doing all right. How are you? Can you? We'll just wait for a couple of minutes. People are still logging in. In the meanwhile, can you confirm if the audio video feed is okay? You can hear me properly. Hi, Vihan. Hi, Kevin. Mihir, good morning to you as well. Hello, hello. George, was my Shweza book for level 2 sufficient? No. Good morning from Nigeria. Hi. Good morning to you as well from India. All right. Okay. So the usual drill. We'll start with the questions that I have in the comments of the previous video. I have about, I think, 10-15 of them. I'll answer them and then I'll come back to you and take some questions on the live chat box. All right. So with this, we'll start. Let me pick an interesting question. Okay, I like this one. This is very interesting, and I actually don't know the answer, but let's take a dig at it. Diamond Kumar, love the name. Diamond Kumar says Singapore, Hong Kong, or Middle East, which is better place to work for an Indian CFA candidate with some work experience in equity research. Now, I'm going to ignore the equity research part. See, equity research is a very market-specific skill set. Which what I mean by that is some analyst who understands Indian equity research might not be so good at equity research for the stocks in the US. I mean, some skills are transferable, but many skills are not. It's very market specific. So if you're an Indian equity research analyst, you're probably better off working in India, right? But otherwise, Singapore, Hong Kong, or Middle East, which is a better place to work, assuming visa is not a constraint, I would have always preferred to work in Singapore as against Middle East. Middle East is a great market, but based on what I hear from a lot of people, is there's a trend for I don't know what's the term, emeritization, where a lot of senior level roles are being offered to the locals, almost they've been given preference. That's what I hear. And even otherwise, the level of financial market development in Singapore, Hong Kong region, is substantially better. The level of sophistication of financial markets is better. So I would have chosen, working in Singapore over Middle East in general. That's the thought process. However, sitting in India and applying for a job in Singapore is going to be tough because the visa is very messy. But sitting in India and applying for a job in maybe something like a Dubai market might still work. Right? Dubai market, I learned this term a decade ago. When I first went there, I don't remember which year, but I was on some business/personal trip, and I learned the word called Vasta. Vasta is basically, I think, like a reference or something. So generally in Dubai markets, if you have reference, it's relatively easier to get jobs in. Okay. All right, let's do next question. Manesh is asking, I'm a FinTree Level 2 candidate. You talked about reading books. Can you suggest some good books related to finance? Okay, that's a very generic question because there are so many different books on different topics. But I think a good book, if you've not been reading and if you want to get started, I think a very easy read for everyone, finance, non-finance, all of us, is this book called Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Fantastic book. Love the PS chapter. I've spoken about that. Maybe someday I'll do a video on that PS chapter itself. I love that chapter so much. So that's a good starting point. And then you can read some maybe pick up maybe one book on hedge fund, one book on private equity, venture capital. Just explore different parts of finance. If you want to read hedge fund, there's an interesting book called More Money Than God. The name itself is enticing. So that's also a decent book just to get warm up to the hedge fund industry. All right, love this question. Gautam, what is an ideal portfolio in your view? More number of stocks with smaller investment or less number of stocks with higher investments? Okay, so basically, what's the question is on how do you do you like more concentrated portfolios or diversified portfolios, right? Now, this is an interesting topic. I'll do a little screen sharing to write a little bit. There's some notes from my previous CFA Level 2 class. Okay. See, the idea is very simple, right? Okay, for some reason my tablet is not working here. The idea is very simple. Whether you want to design generally a relatively high risk portfolio, okay, or you want to design a relatively low risk portfolio. So there is no, it's like saying, hey, do you like paracetamols or do you like, I don't know, ibuprofen, right? I mean, it depends on, you have the pills based on the needs. So, depends on what you need, you have the pill. So it's a little bit somewhat same. Now, let's assume I have a portfolio of maybe, let's say 4 stocks, okay, just for the sake of argument. That means you're putting in about 25% of your wealth in one company. Now, this is a fairly concentrated portfolio, and if those 4 stocks work well, you end up making a lot of money. The problem with this approach, as you can imagine, is what if the 3 stocks in the portfolio do exceptionally well, compound at maybe 20 odd %, but one stock goes to 0, right? Because something went wrong with the company. So having a very concentrated portfolio of few stocks, 3 stocks, 4 stocks, in a way, it's some sort of a arrogance on the part of the investor, who's basically saying, I know everything and I know how things are going to work, right? Therefore, I'm willing to make a bet on these just 4 stocks. But time has taught us again and again that the things that look really certain at a point in time, might have a tendency to shock you. I'll give you an interesting example. I was discussing this in my level 2 class earlier. There was a movie released called, this was in 1960s, called Bonnie and Clyde. Okay, it's I haven't seen the movie, but I've read about it. Now you would say, okay, what does movie have to do with markets or businesses? So basically this movie was released, that movie became a hit, and the clothes that the women were wearing in the movie, those somehow suddenly became a very strong fashion force in the US. So much so that the existing players who had inventory of women clothing before the movie was released, suddenly the demand for that inventory fell dramatically because everyone wanted to wear what these ladies were wearing in that movie, right? And some of these businesses actually went bankrupt because of this movie. Now, imagine if you were an investor in one of these fashion women clothing brands And would you even imagine that some new movie would come and just kill the business, right? So the answer to the question lies in humbleness, which is saying I don't know what I don't know, and therefore maybe in most of the cases such concentrated portfolio might not work, right? Now, a relatively low risk would be if you decide that I'm going to diversify more. So maybe let's say you do 20 stocks, right? That means you're allocating 5% each. Here your allocation was 25% each. Now here, if something goes wrong in one business, you still have other 19 businesses. Okay, so which means the risk of the portfolio has gone down dramatically. But then you would argue, if that's the case, then why not have 100 stocks, right? Because if you have 100 stocks, you're allocating only 1% each, and that basically means that if things go wrong, I lose only 1%. But then the problem here on the flip side is, what if things go right? Right? What if one of the stock becomes a multi-bagger? You have only 1% allocation. So if one stock, let's say, becomes a 100-bagger, okay, everything else doesn't move, just a theoretical argument, your portfolio is only doubled, though the stock became 100-bagger, right? So it's a very fine balance. There is no easy answer to this. I've myself made a mistake of over diversifying in the past, where I've bought maybe 25-30 stocks or did not allocate enough. It's a function of how much risk in general you want to build in your portfolio. The younger you are, the riskier your investment framework could be, right? So if you're somewhere in your 20s and just starting and your corpus is maybe 10,000 rupees, I wouldn't mind doing 4 stocks, because at that type of corpus, it doesn't make sense to buy more. But if you're someone who's 60-year-old, maybe I would not do a high risk strategy of only 4 stocks, right? So A, risk. B, the type of businesses you buy, right? That's very important, because imagine you're buying a lot of optionality based businesses, zero or hero type of businesses. In that case, it makes sense to diversify portfolio a little bit more, right? So B is the nature of type of stocks you buy. And C, very importantly, is the function of conviction, right? How convinced are you about the story? Higher the level of conviction, higher the level of allocation. So these are roughly the parameters within which you want to think through. What I generally discuss in the class and maybe recommend people once in a while, if you're in your 20s, very early, you want to build some certain level of size of corpus, it's okay to build a high risk portfolio, but high conviction bets. And as you grow older and the size of the wealth increases, then slowly you transition from this to this, where you have 20, 25 stocks. Anything more than 30 to me does not make a lot of sense. And 30 is an arbitrary number, no maths to it. Because then I think you're over diversifying it. You might as well just buy index. Right? That's a general thought process. Okay. I'm back to your questions. Just give me a minute. Question is being asked from 40 Shravan Sec 37. Okay. They say, I'm currently doing my CFA Level 1 and I want to become an entrepreneur. The reason I took CFA is because I like finance, and in the future I want to start something on my own in finance. But the question I have for you is, finance is very hard niche to start a business on. Do you have recommendation of the type of business which is easier to start? What are some jobs I should offer to increase my skills set of my entrepreneurial journey? Sure. In fact, I'll tell you some businesses that you can start maybe within weeks, if not months, like just a few days, and you should be able to start your business easily. I think the easiest business to start at the moment in India for whatever reason is simply private wealth. Now, of course, there's a learning curve, right? You want to learn. Private wealth is basically helping people manage money, and private wealth is generally for like ultra rich people. But let's just say, we call that business as a distribution business. Okay. Now, how do you start if you're a fresher and you have no experience? So you basically get in touch with these guys who are called national distributors. Okay, so national distributor. Now, who are those? So I'll give you a couple of names, not recommended, but there's one firm called NJ Distributor. There's another one called Prudent. Prudent is, I think, listed. And there are some more, I don't remember the names, right? Now, what you do is, whichever city you're in, just pick up your phone and call up Google and look for number of NJ or Prudent. Call them up. Tell them that I would like to get into that mutual fund distribution business. They will recommend you certain homework, maybe, and then they will set up a account for you. Software. It's going to be free of cost, right? And then all that you need to do is start going to people you know. Maybe get an NJ sales guy along with you. Or a Prudent sales guy along with you, recommend them some investments, get a check, and your business is started, right? You start making money on day one. No investment, no upfront complications. There's just a learning curve. And if you can request NJ people or Prudent to tag along with them when they go for meetings, you can also learn a little bit of sales skills. I don't know how it works, but have a word with them. They should be able to help you. But is this the only business you can do? No. Then you can do a variety of string of retail money, institution money, fintech, and so on and so forth. For that, you'll have to learn and get some experience. So ये हो गया आपका जवाब. सवाल का जवाब कि जल्दी से how can I start a business quickly in finance, right? This business you can start maybe in weeks time. Or I'll take some more. Sorry, I'm just browsing through the questions. I'm trying to find something interesting. Prats plays asking, good morning. Is it must to know coding these days when applying for a job? No, but it helps. Assuming the worst case scenario, if I fail my FRM part 1, क्यों सोचना है भाई ऐसे? If I fail my FRM part 1, will the knowledge I gain help me get the first job? Yes, absolutely. I think just the knowledge of good financial markets, knowing derivatives and fixed income should be able to get you an entry-level job. It won't be a great job, will most probably an operational job, but yes, you should be able to find something with it. Okay. SPK6YT is asking, I'm a BCom honors student at one of the top colleges in the country. You don't have my respect, BCom. I just appeared for level 1. I want to know what other stuff do I need to do to get a core finance job. My placement cycle will be in another 6 months. Sure. See, so I think just if you want a finance job, maybe CFA FRM honestly is a no-brainer at your age. Maybe you can take some NISM modules just to kind of get introduced to some of the subjects. Learn financial modeling if you can. Learn some basic programming. Work on your interpersonal skills, and you're a perfect package. Right? That's what I would do if I were at your place. Since you do not invest in mutual funds, do you think mutual funds are a good idea to go ahead? Do you think mutual fund returns will not be much? See, I don't invest in mutual funds because I have the confidence or maybe overconfidence that I can pick my own stocks. And since I do mostly equities, I don't think I need mutual funds. Though in my corporate portfolio, we do have some debt products, some mutual funds as well. But not in the individual portfolio. Now, do I think mutual funds will do good going forward? Absolutely yes. I mean, see, at the end of the day, what you're doing in a mutual fund is a variety of people are pulling in money. We're going to a fund manager who's probably done this before, studied this before, and we're hoping that they will do better than the index, right? Nifty. Now, they've done all right in the past. I think they'll keep on doing okay in the future. There's no reason why one would not consider mutual funds at all. But selection of the fund manager is a skill and art by itself, right? One of the very common mistake people do is they take mutual fund list and they look at top performing mutual fund for last 2-3 years, number one, number two, and then they allocate money. But remember, mutual fund ranking and their performance is very perishable because it basically means whatever strategy they had that worked in that window. It could be skill, but it could also be at times just the market. So instead of selecting a fund based on how the fund did in the past, rather focus more on the investment philosophy of the fund and the performance of the fund manager across the cycle for the last 10 years, right? That should give you a good perspective of the type of fund you want to invest in. Raymond always has those weird questions. Should I even read this? Okay, here's what he says. I know it's a he because of the question. Do I get a wife which provides a higher return but has higher risk of leaving me? Or do I get a wife who has low return but low risk of leaving me? I've made an Excel spreadsheet and will want to get the wife that maximizes my Sharpe ratio. I think with the state of mind you are in, Raymond, at the moment, I think you don't deserve a wife. So higher return, higher risk. Okay. What kind of nonsense? I think why don't you just cut down on all this crap and maybe start looking at life a little more seriously? High return wife क्या होता है? What is a wife that gives you high return? वो कह रहा है high return wife, but high return risk, but high risk therefore lower Sharpe ratio. ठीक है, आगे. Abhishek. I'm a level 2 candidate doing level 2 prep from FinTree. I'm working as a product manager, worked as equity dealing. I want to get into equity research. Please explain research to fund manager trajectory. Okay, good. I think that's a good question. What's the trajectory for someone to become a fund manager? I think the typical journeys, see, every firm has a different name, but I'll give you a flavor. First, you become a junior analyst. At a very entry level, you're basically assisting some research analyst, right? You do that work for 2-3 years. Then maybe some firms will promote you to an analyst designation. Okay, again, the structure is different on buy side and sell side, but generally, let's assume sell side. So you're analyst for a few years, you're given some sectors. Then you become a team lead. Then you're managing 2-3 sectors, there are people who are working under you. Then you work better. After a while, you become head of research. Now you're managing the whole floor, right? And then after head of research, then you just have management roles, right? So then VPs and director and CEO, that's how you grow vertically. What some people will do is they'll work on sell side for a few years and then make a move to buy side. Buy side is where the money is, right? You're working with mutual funds, insurance companies. There, the career trajectory is much more flatter. There is not a lot of layering. So maybe you just remain an analyst for 10-15 years and then someday you'd become a fund manager, right? Or you could be an analyst, senior analyst, and then a fund manager. In general, the trick is, if I had to model my career in equities, what I would have done in today's environment, I would have looked for maybe a 1,000 to 5,000 crore type of a boutique fund and on the buy side, and I would have looked for a job there. Benefit of being on the buy side early in your career is you get to work on different sectors. Sell sides generally is very sector specific. They give you one sector, you build champion, you become a champion in that. So cement, only cement, nothing else. But when you're on the buy side, you have to do a little bit of everything. So you do cement, but you also do infra, but you do FMCG consumption. So the learning is much more better. Okay. All right. I think my questions on the comments are almost over. I'll take some questions now on the live chat box. Priyanshu answer there, he can use discounting wife method. DCF, good one. I'm a CA and a product controller seeking transition into equity research. Advice require skill set relevance for my product. There is no relevance to product control experience, and it will not be easy to switch to equity research. And generally PCs are paid well. Equity research entry skill pays are not so much. I'm sorry, I'm breaking the bad news for you, but I don't think it would be very easy for you to move from a PC role to equity research. But assuming that you're not, you're very early in your career, then I think in that case, just financial modeling and you're already a CA, it should be good to go. All right, I'm taking questions. You can put them on the chat box now, but don't spam. Shivansh says, I'm in the first year, I'll start my CFA prep from second year. Till then, I'll make projects, fin models for CV. Recommendation to add, I'm from tier 2 college, Sydenham College, Commerce BSc Institute. If you know how to build financial models, sure. See, you know what, honestly, if you write on your CV that, hey, I've built 10 models, no one really cares. I'll be very honest with you. I think if you've really built 10, but if you really have built 10 models and you've understood the company, that will reflect in your conversation. So don't do it for CV, right? Do it for learning. If you learn well, automatically it would be reflected when you talk to people. Rajiv, confused on one thing, interested in financial management of corporation rather than stock picking. I like building and growing corporates. What skills should I prioritize from CFA? I mean, just learn about business and see how investors perceive businesses. Read a lot of conference calls when you're preparing for CFA, Rajiv. I think that will also help. And then see if you can work on the corporate development side of the corporate development teams of the organization. I think those are very good roles to be in. Yujan Shubhrasagar, what other certifications apart from CFA one should do if you want to land jobs in JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley? Ideal candidate look like from a non-target school? I think, honestly, these are not the most desirable employers in the country because both JP Morgan, Barclays, HSBC, about 80 to 90% of the work in India is basically, outsourced operations, right? A big part of that would be operational type of roles. And there is no one skill set that they look for. It really depends on the profile you work on. So business people, they will have different skills. Business team is typically all IIT, IIMs, right? But risk management, they'll hire FRM, or people with maths background. Ops, they will hire anyone. So it really depends on what profile you're targeting. There is no one skill that fits all type of role. Just interpersonal skills, good finance knowledge, and some technical skills should be a good starting point. What's your view on the YouTube finfluencer space? And if you remember any CFA doing good in this space? Yeah, I mean, it's very early to say, but I think what will happen over a period of time, and that's my, it's just a view, and I could be wrong. But what will happen is the users will go to content fatigue after a while. Okay, I don't know if it's happening to you, but you like some YouTubers, maybe you follow them for a bit, you listen to them, but then you realize that there's just too much of content coming your way that you can't absorb, and then you get bored, right? And you move on to someone else. So the life period of relevancy is relatively going to be shorter for most of them, unless the quality of content and the size of the content is limited and it's not too much for people to absorb. Plus, some of the finfluencers, I think, have really, in order to gain popularity, they've put in a lot of shitty content, right? I mean, for example, should I invest in this IPO or not? Now, the thing is, you don't need to invest in every IPO, right? It just makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, there are many investors who don't do IPOs at all. I mean, why do you have to buy every new flashy stock? You already have 5,000 stocks in India, study them. Wait for a couple of years for the company to settle down, and then see if it's worth investing. You don't have to buy everything. So a lot of these guys are playing on FOMO, which I don't like. And the thing is, anything that's not good quality in the long run doesn't work. That's what I've seen in last 10-15 years. But there are some good influences as well, right? So we'll see how the space pans out. Do I know anyone in CFA space? No. I mean, CFA is such a small market, to be honest. It's anyone who's popular on internet for CFA is not a finfluencer. It's just 100,000 odd people in the world in the CFA program at any point of time, right? So the target market is very small for anyone to become large in this space. With traditional metrics, which other influencers will use. Sanskar. I'm prepping for level 2 completed NISM certifications, actively trading the market, never worked in corporates, want to start my career in equity research. What should I do? I think learn a little bit of financial modeling, Sanskar, and I think that's good enough. Start applying. If you dig through some of the past AMA session, I've actually shown a SEBI website which has a list of phone numbers and email IDs of a lot of these asset managers. So you can get the data from there and start applying, network, attend CFA conferences, something will materialize. My dad is investing in equity markets for the first time. He's never invested a single cent. His corpus of 4.5 crores, which is looking to invest in equity markets. Okay. Wow, that's a very tricky situation, Yujan. I think a good starting point would be to find some advisor who would be able to help them take better decisions. Now, you need to be very careful in locating this person, because a lot of advisors in India are actually mutual fund distributors, and many of them I've seen here have an intent to sell whatever will get them the best commissions. Okay, so you need to be really, really careful in finding the right advisor. Clearly, direct equity, if there's no experience, direct equity might not be a good idea. Maybe a mutual fund will be okay. So one is find the right advice. Second, this is, in my personal humble view, this is not the best time to invest in equity markets lump sum. I think the markets are at all-time high right now. Your price to book ratio on average index level is more than 4. Everything looks stretched. I mean, market cap to GDP is 137, something like that. So historically, whenever the experience has taught this again and again and again, that if your entry point in the market is not correct, in the long run, you will not make money, right? I mean, just look at FMCG companies, right? I mean, for 10-15 years flat, there was not much money made on many of these stocks because the entry valuations were too high. Right now, the whole market, except some belts, everything looks expensive. So putting in hard-earned money, which he's saved for all his life, I would be super, super careful. I wouldn't do a PMS. I wouldn't do a I think I would do a very staggered approach to my investing, which is like a SIP. Uh, and at least for initial, year and a half, I'll just go with some very ETF type of a thing, or maybe not remain in the market. Talk to some advisor and, take a personalized advice. Don't rush into it. Okay. Mihir, are you planning a financial modeling live class soon? No, Mihir. I think I've decided I'll just be doing one batch a year. I did one in 2024. I will be doing one in 2025, but most probably towards the summers, like towards June, July, monsoons. He's looking up to me for invest that considering this CFA level 1. See, I mean, your father has misplaced trust in you. You're studying CFA level 1, so he thinks आपको आता है, but you know आपको नहीं आता है. I've shortlisted. I'm not going to comment on a particular PMS. So again, just be super careful and don't. I think it would be a bad idea to do a lump sum now in the current markets. Can you tell me finance related entrepreneurship to do? I am doing CFA. I want to start my entrepreneurship. I answered that question, Shravan, you missed it. I think first question I answered today, first or second. Can we get FinTree financial statement for practice? Sure, you can. There's a website called Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Pay 100 rupees. We are a private company. We have to upload our financial statements on that. You just pay 100 rupees and you get access to FinTree. FinTree IPO is not happening anytime this decade. So I'm in no rush to do any sort of IPO. And we're too small for an IPO anyways. And I don't want to be another joke on the street, with that. Did you see that automobile distribution thing? I mean, if we ever do an IPO, we'll do it right. We'll make sure we make money for investors. Otherwise, we'll not. Can you tell me any finance related entrepreneurship to do? I'm doing CFA, I want to start. Okay, that question I've answered. What is the practical skill management exam that you need to give before CFA level 1? You don't need to prepare for it. It's just a self-study module. It's called PSM. So you just watch, they've given some material, I think reading material and some videos, watch them, practice questions. It's no big deal. Just make sure you do it before your results come out. That's it. And there's nothing for FinTree to help. That's just call up the support if you need any help. They'll tell you what to do. Your voice sounds so different on 1x. I know. I hear that very often, especially from students. They're used to 1.5, 2. Shivansh, I'm a science student till 12th. Can I self-study in past level 1? Yes, you can. But as a science student, can I clear it? Yes. What will be the learning curve for basics? I think what you do, Shivansh, we have a free course on FinTree platform called Level 0. Use that as a starting point. That will give you a lot of insights on how to prepare and just how to use calculator, basics of accounting. And then you should be able to deal with curriculum directly. Do you use credit card? Are they really in favor or just a hype thing? You know what? I think I was with my younger brother the other day. He was in India for a couple of days. So I was traveling with him. And he was telling me, he was convincing me why I should get Amex, the American Express credit card, because you get some points and, that kind of a stuff. The thing is, I'm not a very heavy credit card user. And I'm also not, I think just personally, I'm also not someone who try to save, with credit card points. And I think I would rather use my time and, doing a plus. I mean, both ways you make money, right? Either you save or you earn. I generally am not really focused on trying to save on, credit card discounts or points or something like that. But I do use a corporate credit card every now and then. I think it's a good product. In general, if you're someone who's very disciplined, you can use it. it will help you improve your credit score, plus you get to use money free of cost, right? So I mean, I definitely see the merit of using that. Abhishek, Abhishek has said nice things. I'm glad, Abhishek, we were able to help you. Thank you very much for your kind words. Ganesh, could you please recommend few finance books to read? I just recommended some time back. I think start with Psychology of Money. Finish it, come back here, I'll tell you the next one. It's a good book by Morgan Housel. Itachi, hello sir, I have a BA degree in economics at science in 12th. Should I do CFA or prepare for MBA or both? Yeah, I mean, see, Itachi, if you think you can land yourself in IIMs, like top tier IIMs, MBA definitely will be helpful. If not, and you want to work in finance, I think CFA is the way to go. I know that you ride bike. Which is your dream car? Have you bought it already, or will you buy it in the future? I don't have a dream car. I don't. It's good or bad, I don't know, but I don't have very large materialistic objects in life. Like I want this car or that car. Never fancied them, to be honest. I mean, for some reason that doesn't motivate me anymore, like having a car or a house or a motorcycle. But yeah, I love motorcycles. There's one motorcycle I might want to buy in a couple of years, but I'm in no rush. Right now I ride a KTM 390 Adventure. I love that one. And then I have one more also, but I don't ride that often. I'm working somewhere in SAP while preparing for level 1. I'm not able to leave my job. How can I get practical exposure to CFA concepts? You cannot. I think just learn, pass exams, and look for alternate jobs. Don't try to do too many things. Hi, good morning. I tried CFA twice, did not clear by margin. I have an entry-level job in auditing. I want to pursue finance. CFA seems a big risk. Should I go with... No. Don't go with FRM. Just because I think I've seen this a lot of people doing, Anshul. A lot of people will not drop CFA and pick up FRM thinking FRM is easier. FRM is actually challenging. FRM is more difficult than CFA in general. It has much more mathematical orientation as well. I would recommend you carefully analyze the reason why your CFA attempts went wrong. You know, what mistakes are you making? Maybe find a mentor who can, or they can help you prepare better. If finance is what you want to do, CFA definitely is the way to go. FRM is a good course. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying FRM is not a good course. FRM is a fantastic course if your career is aligned with it, which basically means you want to make a career, you want to build a career in risk management, banking, then FRM is a fantastic choice, right? But just because you're not able to pass CFA does not automatically mean FRM is a good course for you. How do you keep yourself motivated and find your goal? I don't think I'm very motivated always. I think I'm just I would like to say I could be better, but I'm just try to be a little disciplined. And I don't take my feelings or emotions too seriously. Like, yeah, I think that is what worked for me. For example, there are days when I'm feeling a little under the weather, but I have to teach because I have a class scheduled. So I just teach. I don't care, I don't give too much of importance to I'm not feeling good, or like the whole feelings. I think you need to do something, you need to just get that shit done. And I think one rule that has always worked for me is my father taught me this, which is always show up, right? I mean, like if you have something and you're sitting at home, like for example, let's say you want to go and get workout done, But you're sitting at home thinking, should I go, should I not? So don't waste time thinking. If you like, just show up, right? And showing up itself will do 90% of things in life. So just trying to like be a little more like building good habits will automatically keep you kind of on track of things. And in terms of how to find goals in life, which is very interesting question. Just finished a book couple of months back called How to Design Your Life by a Stanford professor. I don't remember the name, Burnett or something. I think a lot of my discovery of, and it's never fixed, right? Your goals are changing, but a lot of discovery in life has happened for me personally because I try to write. And like I do free flow of writing, no structure in terms of whatever is in the head, it's just coming out. So I try and make sure I'm writing as regularly as I can, most of the time, every day. Even if it's 5 minutes, it's just time with yourself. That has helped me really think through in terms of what you want and what you do not want. So maybe that's something you can try. All right, last question for the day. Then I'm kind of done. I'm working in audit space with Big Four. My level 1 exam in Feb 25. Struggling with studies, job is very demanding. Any career advice is appreciated. I want to get into core finance. So you're in a good space. I started my career in audit. I did my CA articleship in audit. I think it's a fantastic area because you get to know the insides of how financial statements are built, right? So when you go on the other side, you know all the gimmicks that the companies do. So I think it's not a bad role. Just push yourself a little bit. It can be a little taxing. Get through the level 1, then maybe look for alternate job. Bhavya says, I sent you a WhatsApp message 10 days ago. You still haven't answered me. Okay, my apologies, Bhavya. I've been very busy. And why don't you post that question again? I'll see if I can answer it this week. All right, that's it. Done. Thank you very much. Some questions I couldn't answer. I'll try and do that for next week. Again, the way to do it, whatever questions I could not answer, just put them in the comments. So next week when I start the session, I'll try and take some of those questions. All right. I think next week onwards, what we'll start doing is, because I can see the questions being repeated. So if you want to discuss specific companies, not as a stock, but specific companies or some stocks, not whether stock will go up or not, but where the business is in its life cycle and stuff like that, I'll be happy to do it. So you can also put the name of the stocks that you'd like to discuss. I'm thinking every AMA session will spend about 10 minutes in discussing one stock where all of us will learn together about the stock. And I'll show you how I think, and maybe you can give me your comments. So that way we also get something productive out of it, right? So one stock per week. For ideas and suggestions, you can put them in the comments. Thank you. Have a good one and bye. You can choose whatever sectors you want. Whatever sectors is fine. I think we can dabble around different companies and different sectors with time. All right.